Hey everyone, it's Alicia here from We the Three, back with another Trying to Conceive update. If you guys were watching last week, you will know that I was 5 DPO as of last Monday, and today is the 27th day of the month, and it is also the 27th day of my cycle, and I'm currently either 11 or 12 DPO. The reason I don't know what day I ovulated is because it's really unclear on my chart, and if you also haven't been watching for a long time, then you might not know this is also my Clomid cycle. So I'm not sure if the discrepancy in being able to tell what day I ovulated is from that or not, but regardless, I am either 11 or 12 DPO and still waiting for either AF or a big fat positive pregnancy test. This is, if you've been watching for a while, you'll remember the longest luteal phase I've had in a long time. My luteal phases, since I've gotten ovulation back, which has been about 3 or 4 months, have been consistently 10 to 12 days. This luteal phase is looking like it's going to be 14 to 15 days, which means that I can expect AF sometime around Thursday or Friday. And if it hasn't come by then, I will know that I am definitely late. At this point, however, I am testing daily because I am so far past ovulation. And the reason that I do that, and I know that everyone has differing opinions about when to test and why they test then, the biggest reason that I test so early is because I know that the next time I do get pregnant, I want to be on progesterone suppositories right away, which means that I'm supplementing my natural progesterone with extra. And there's not really research that indicates it does or does not ensure that you don't have a miscarriage, but based on how my last pregnancy went that did end in miscarriage, both my naturopath, my OB, and my new reproductive endocrinologist agree that I should be on progesterone the next time I'm pregnant. And that is why I test every day, because it's really important with progesterone supplementation to catch your pregnancy as early as possible so that you're starting your progesterone supplements as early as possible. So I, like I said, have not gotten a big fat positive yet, and I test every morning just with my first morning urine, and that's all I do. I just do once a day, and I'm still waiting. If you saw my last video, you might know that I said I'm not feeling like this is our cycle, and I still feel that way. Something about it just feels like this isn't our month, and that's fine. But like I said, I have to keep checking either way, so I am keeping a very watchful eye on it. The 2-week wait feels like it's been a million years because, like I said, it's way longer than it has been in a long time. Luckily, I was out of town this last weekend, and it did kind of help it go by faster, but it still is really hard to ignore symptoms and your chart. Even when you're traveling, it's still kind of in the forefront of your mind because it's really hard for it to not be. Since I just mentioned my chart, here is the picture of it. And as you can see, there is still definitely a lot of room for hope for this cycle because my temperatures are staying high and are very consistently high. In fact, you'll see that I am like at or almost at the same temperature for the last 3 or 4 days in a row, which has been crazy. I tested my thermometer like 4 times yesterday, wondering if it was broken, and it's not. It's just my body has been very consistently at that temperature. As far as symptoms go, another thing that I'm noticing from the Clomid cycle, and I'm attributing it to the Clomid cycle because I don't know yet whether or not I'm pregnant, but my PMS symptoms are extremely severe, and in a way that they have not been in a long time. And I am blaming my Clomid cycle for that because I know that my progesterone is probably way higher from this Clomid cycle since my ovulation was strong. Symptoms that I've been having include tender and sore chest, very sore, and much earlier on than it has been in the last few cycles. I've been dizzy and a little bit nauseous and headachy and tired, fatigued like crazy. Just all of the PMS symptoms that I usually have, but on a much higher level. And I've also been just hungrier than usual, wanting weird food. All of these things are usual PMS things for me, but they're usually just like quieter than they're right now with the Clomid. They're very loud. Last week, I did tell you I was going to get a progesterone draw on day 21 of my cycle, and I did go get it, and the results were awesome. My ovulation was very strong, so your progesterone, anything over about a 3 indicates you have ovulated when they take the blood at day 21. But what they really want to see is it be over 10 or 12, because anything in that range, in that smaller range, like from 3 to 10, indicates that you might have ovulated, but it's a really low, weak ovulation, probably wouldn't result in pregnancy. Last month when I got a 21-day progesterone draw, my number was 5, and that's not a great ovulation. This time with the Clomid, when I got my progesterone draw on day 21, it was 18.81. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the Clomid's working really well for my body. If you didn't see my video last week, I did mention that I am seeing an RE, and next month when I take Clomid again, I will be getting monitored as far as doing mid-cycle ultrasounds to check my follicle size. So even though my blood number was really good as far as my progesterone level, we will be checking even more in depth with an ultrasound next month. So we are keeping a close eye on how the Clomid is working, but I'm feeling really good about how strong I ovulated this month. Other than my updates from today, I don't really have a lot to share with you guys. Like I've just said, I mean, I really don't feel like July is our month. I definitely feel out, especially because it's 11 or 12 days past and I still haven't gotten a positive pregnancy test. I would assume that if I were pregnant, I would usually have gotten one by now. But I don't know my body well enough on pregnancy to know when that would happen. And the last time I got pregnant, I did get a very late positive pregnancy test and had negative tests before I had positives. So last time I got pregnant, I didn't get even a faint positive, or what I thought was faint at the time, but now I would be able to see it probably a lot sooner, until 15 days past ovulation, and not like a clear blue digital read until 16 days past. So I will say that even though I'm feeling like July is not our month and I'm just, waiting for the next one, that it is hard for me to count myself out until we get to that point. And one thing that I will say is that my temperature reads have been giving me a lot of hope. Especially because they've just been so high, and usually by tomorrow or the next day, if I don't see a drop, then I will very much have a lot of hope, because having a drop about 2 to 3 days before I have a period is normal for me. So it would be very unusual for me to not have a drop, and so I'll be waiting on it to see if I am or am not pregnant, or have any indication of whether or not I am. The last thing that I have as a symptom, which is not technically a symptom, but it is something that I find curious, that I'm definitely attributing to stronger progesterone production in my body, is right now my cervical position and my cervical mucus are both similar to what they were when I found out I was pregnant last time, which is high, really high, like ovulation level high or higher, and firm and closed. And as far as the CM goes, you'll know that if you track your CM, you'll know that like when you get closer to your period, usually it's really dry, you almost have none. Right now mine is very, it's starting to gain momentum as far as how much there is. And it's also it's got the characteristics of what I have heard and seen myself as what it would look like during pregnancy. And I'm trying to tell you all those details and not have it be too much TMI, so if you don't check your cervical position or your cervical mucus and hate hearing about it, I'm sorry. But that is the other thing that's kind of in my brain right now as like, that's interesting, that hasn't happened in a while. So pretty much that's it. I mean, I will be back next Monday and I will either be pregnant or I will be on to my next cycle of Clomid. I will say that I have made the decision to take Clomid earlier this next month, so I will be taking it days 3 through 7 of my cycle instead of days 5 through 9. My reproductive endocrinologist's office recommend that timeline instead of the one that my OB gave me, so I'm going to go with my reproductive endocrinologist on that one. I wish I had an update for you guys. Usually my videos about the 2-week wait are a lot less because mine are shorter. you know, I just got blessed with a full 2 weeks this time. So I will go ahead and say bye to you guys and see you next week. Please give me a thumbs up on the video if you liked it, and leave a comment down below. What are some things that you noticed as signs of pregnancy for you the earliest? Do you track your CM and your CP? Or have you like stayed completely away from that realm of tracking your body? I would love your feedback on that so that I know whether or not to include it or just to skim over it. If you guys are curious over the next week about what the news is as far as whether or not I'm pregnant, you can always check out my Tumblr page. It is linked down below in the video description. I do update it more often. However, if I do get a BFP, I can't guarantee that I will tell my Tumblr about it even the day of. I will probably wait until I get a chance to tell my actual family and friends and people I want to tell in person versus over my YouTube channel. I don't know that everyone would love that if I did that. Like I said, I'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll have amazing news for you, and even if I don't, I will be well on my way to my next Clomid cycle. Stick around for that, you guys. I love your faces, and I will see you later. Bye!